What is good? Welcome into Driving the Nightline. My name is Alan Bell. We've got a fantastic show for you today. We actually have two shows in one. First, we're going to hit normal show, attire. All right, hit on our picks for tonight. And then we're going to jump right into college baseball. Jump right into it. Everything has been announced for the regionals. We'll break it down. Whether you have never bet a college baseball game in your life, or you're like my guys right here, and Mario and Tizzle and Bobby and Chicago and Spelldog, and you know all about college baseball, it will help tremendously. But as we said, let's get to the picks first here. All right, Moshe, hit lead off again, my boy. Let it rip, buddy. What you got?
All right, we got 5 picks to add to our 4 from earlier today. First up, we're going to go straight to the Yankees visiting the Angels. Yankees -1.5. I got this at plus money. Angels have been playing really at a high level, but are definitely due to regress against really a surging Yankees team that I've been really impressed with. Their consistent batting game in, game out. I finally seen enough from Ryan Yarbrough to really start trusting him. And I like fading Jack Kushanowicz one more time. Sorry if I didn't say that correct, but his metrics are just bad. His core metrics are really, really bad. And I think the Yankees have proven that they can capitalize on mistakes. Next up, we got the Marlins at the Padres. This is really kind of a system play here. I like the Padres, even facing possibly resurgent Ryan Weathers. I don't think his historicals or even some of his core metrics really kind of say that he is this good of a pitcher, at least consistently. And Randy Vasquez for the Padres has pitched much better at home. He's coming off 5 solid starts in a row. I think at the end of the day, the Marlins bullpen is due to blow one. So I'm going to take the Padres on the money line here. I'm not going to get fancy. Pirates at the Diamondbacks next. This is also just simply Diamondbacks -1.5 at plus money. How are the Pirates going to keep up? I don't see it at all. I'm just going to leave it at that. Next up, we also have the same problem with the White Sox. White Sox have been playing great, but are they really going to be able to keep up with the Mets here? I took a parlay here. I took the Mets first 5 money line with the whole game at the on the run line. You can get this at around -110 right now. Yeah, paying to find out what the White Sox are made of. And Clay Holmes should shut them down for the Mets. And Adrian Hauser, who's starting for the White Sox, his metrics say regression. Last but not least, we got Dodgers at the Guardians. I took the Dodgers also on the first 5 money line and the full game money line here. Dodgers are going to bounce back against this Mets, against the Mets with a loss 2 out of 3. Guardians, I don't think can keep up with this level of play. I think that they really focused a lot of their resources on beating the Tigers, and that's going to hurt them here. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is a great option to get behind here. And I love fading Gavin Williams for the Guardians. Despite his fantastic numbers this year, his underlying metrics spell trouble. So, yeah, we got 5 off, and let's finish this Memorial Day strong.
Dude, let's finish it off strong indeed. And look, your boy Gavin, look, I'm ready to take him yard too. Let's go. All right,
yeah,
great work.
For the record, by the way,
yep.
I took Soler earlier for my home run pick of the day. I really do think both teams score here, but the Yankees, I think, are really just going to murder the ball.
They could. You know what? Going off of that, all right, because look, I think I agree with you. But what I also agree, I think the Rays are going to do exactly the same thing. On fire right now. Them boys are hitting. Got a great matchup. Weather is absolutely perfect. I'm going to take them team total over 4.5. I also feel you on the Diamondbacks. I'm going to take Marte here over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Yes, I would love to get it over 1.5, but I kind of feel it today. 2.5. I'll take that. I'll take the risk there. -105. I'm with it. And then finally, your boy, Null. That's what I'm going to call him. Nikhil Alexander Walker tonight over 1.5 threes, -120. Again, I know that we're on Caruso on the other side. I also like Null. I just like saying that. Over 1.5 threes. He's going to put him up. He puts him up every game. But I think that tonight it's going to be very important for him. And he knows that. And he's a dude that can step up even when he's not the quote-unquote focal point of the team. He knows his role, all right, and knows exactly where he fits. And this is a must-win game, man. So we're going to take that one over 1.5 threes. Now, Chicago Pat said, I'll do better, I promise, on a pick. My boy, man, ain't worried about that one bit. Drop your next play. I'm all over it. Because, dude, believe in you. You got this, man. Got this indeed.
The Tigers were really just 1 or 2 hits away from knocking him out of the game really early in that one.
You know what?
Just
Hey,
is what it is.
they should have let me get up there. Dude, hit 2-hole. Kidding, I would strike out. Dude, I always laugh. Like, I'll have friends or somebody like, man, I think I could hit this pitcher. I'm like, you absolutely could not hit this pitcher. I don't care if it's the worst dude on planet Earth in the major leagues. That dude is piping 93 up your ass, and his movement is going, boy. Oh, man. Japan said, let's see that swing. Yeah, what up?
I got 2 things. One, I used to play Little League. I was in Little League All-Stars. We made it to regionals. We started traveling around. Like, me and my brother were really good when we were in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. I skipped 8th grade, went to boarding school, and I went to a boarding school that didn't have any baseball. And I was upset, like, through high school, that I never got a chance to really play ball. So in 11th grade, I went to like this place that's like takes people who think that they have the talent. And they're like, we'll show you if you have any or not. And I got in there and I actually started hitting like 70 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour fastball. And then I saw my first curveball and I said, nope.
Dude. And boys, dude, I mean, look, we went and played down, I don't know how prevalent it is now. East Cobb, all right, used to be the spot for talent, the spot. And man, we went down there and we had some boys. Like, I think 3 of the guys that I played with went to play at Vanderbilt. I mean, on one team, right? Like, solid. And, dude, I know what you mean. Like, dude, you face dudes who are bona fide. You're like, that dude will be in MLB. That dude will be in MLB. That dude, like, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I had gotten myself going too because I was like, oh, I hit us, they started out me slow and got it higher and whatever, and then I was like, oh, I could do this, and then the second that you see any kind of movement on that pitch, it's over. That is hard.
Let the swing rip.
Not to say that I'm not. Yeah.
Go ahead. What is that?
Not to say that I'm not the best player on my team in my softball league.
Hey, you know what? The important thing is you made All-Stars, and that's what's most important there.
Yeah, honestly, it was a great experience growing up. But you could see, like, we had not Aaron Judge, but like an Aaron Judge-like fella who was, 7th grade, but he was 6'2" and 200 pounds already and had a lip mustache and clearly just built differently. And you know what I mean? Like, those are the people going to college, not people like me who are built 6'2", 220 pounds. Like, I'm a good size. It's not like.
Dude, they how old did you say that kid was?
Oh, he was like 12. Must have been 12.
They weren't even IDing him when he went in to get Grizzly Wintergreen long cut. They didn't even ID him.
And they weren't even in Florida.
I love it. All right, any final thoughts?
Yes. I think it was Z Quishy in the chat, David. We were talking about the DK promo, and you mentioned this. I wasn't going to mention it, but we took the Rays. We took who do we take? Yandy Diaz to hit the home run for the DK promo, and you get like a $25 bet for every home run hit in the game. So just have fun with that. That's what we chose, kind of as like a group play.
Say that one more time. It's what now?
It's the DK promo. You get $25 bonus bet for any home run hit in the game. And we took Yandy Diaz at plus 500.
I'm in. All right. I'm in. What time do they start?
I think 7.
Perfect.
Sure.
Beautiful. All right. Now we're going to start show number 2. All right. You good? All set? Most excellent work. Excellent work as always, my boy. Dude, double time on a holiday. Salute to you. Well done, man. Good job. See you tomorrow, big dog. All right. Now, let's go with show number 2, and we're going to roll right into it. Big Greg, what's good, bro? You doing all right? I think you're on mute.
Just had to make a nice sprint down the stairs and back.
Well, I was gonna say your background changed.
So, it was too bright outside at the pool, so I had to get inside.
Yeah, you know what?
So we moved inside to the billiards room.
I was gonna say, dude, it looks like you live in a bar, which is awesome.
Could be. It seems appropriate for this.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump right into college baseball. So regionals have been announced. Okay. I'm going to put up some graphics. All of these are in the Discord now. All right. You see the QR code right there at the bottom. If you haven't joined, it's free, completely free. All right. And I have all the graphics in there because just let me warn you, baseball bracket graphics are more of a vertical game than a horizontal of what you see here. So at the beginning, it might be a little tough to read. I've already got it set up. It's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's going to work. And that's what it takes to get to Omaha, right? So you have all the graphics that are in the Discord. They're already in there right now. And full brackets. Fill them out. We're going to be talking about it. We've got until Friday when these regionals start. So let's jump into it here. And Greg, again, we just got this information, 2 hours ago, right? So this is a first look. We're going to break it down all week long, all right, and through the weekend. Don't worry about that. But what we want to do is just get everyone started. Now, first, that's in the Discord now, all right, updated our stadium guides to all 16 teams, all right, that are hosting a regional, okay? So this is all you have to worry about for the regionals because all games are going to be played at these 16 host spots all weekend. And if these teams win, they'll host super regionals. I'll adjust the graphic as needed, but for the most part, pretty much set. And then you also see Omaha up there right in the middle. So we're all set on that. So that's in the Discord. Go ahead and grab it. And you got it. We can track weather for sure. Now, next graphic, what we want to do, okay, is I want to, let's take a look at the bracket, okay? So here's what we've got. And again, I understand on screen right now, impossible to read, but it's in the Discord. Grab it. You can go to ncaa.com, d1baseball.com, any of these places and grab this as well, all right? But here is what the bracket looks like. And again, it is broken down basically the same as March Madness, all right? You see it here, except, baseball is just a little different, and I'll explain it for anybody who might not be familiar. So you have 16 colleges hosting a regional, okay? What that means is that there are 4 teams in total that are there, and essentially, one team's going to win each regional. One team's going to do it. All right. I've got more graphics. We're going to go through each one. And they're much easier to read. But I just want to show what the bracket as a whole looks like. So you see pods of 4. All right. You see 8 on the left, 8 on the right. Okay. One team is going to win each pod of 4. And they'll play each other next weekend in a super regional. And it's only 2 teams, best of 3. Now, you see in the middle here, and again, I know it's impossible to read, but you'll see this when you grab the bracket for yourself, that the teams hosting regionals, all right, are the top 16 ranked teams in the country. So understand that. But with that, the top 8 teams essentially play all their games at home until the College World Series, which is played in Omaha, okay? So if you look at the top left, all right, and let's jump into it, and I'll show you what I mean, okay? So we're going to go. You see, all right, top left, top right, bottom right. That's how we're going to go through it so that it's actually legible somewhat. So number 1, Vanderbilt, okay? They're the number 1 seed across the board. They will play, obviously, their regional in Nashville at home. All games will be played in Nashville of these 4 teams. If Vanderbilt advances, they will play, all right, the Southern Miss region in the super regionals. You see it on the bracket there. If Vanderbilt wins, those games will be played in Nashville at Vanderbilt. The higher seed host the super regional. So I hope that makes sense, that if you are one of the top 8 seeds in the country, you play all of your games at home until the College World Series tournament in Omaha. So, Greg, we're going to go through these, And let me pull you on screen here. Let me see if it's legible. Okay, we can see it. Again, I know that it's not beautiful. Didn't have a lot of time, and also, yeah, brackets they're tough to work with on a horizontal platform. Okay, but Greg, what I want to do is go through each region. Okay, and let's talk about it. Let's discuss the host, discuss all 4 teams. I'm not going to hold you, feel free to make picks, so to say. We don't have lines or anything like that, but just breaking it down. You know what I mean? So we'll start here. The number 1 overall seed, Vanderbilt in Nashville. All right. Vandy's the 1 seed there. Louisville, the 2 seed. And these are seedings in the pods. So understand, Southern Miss, you see it below. They're the 16 seed. Okay. So it's just like college basketball. 1 versus 16, so to say, right? So, okay. So Vanderbilt, they'll take on Wright State on Friday. ETSU and Louisville. So in rankings, Vanderbilt, Louisville, ETSU, Wright State. Greg, I'm going to throw it over to you. The first thing that stands out to me is that Vanderbilt has pitching. All of these teams can hit, and all of these teams can score. All right. So we're going to see Vanderbilt and Wright State. Game 1. Game 2 is going to be ETSU and Louisville, and then it's winners, losers bracket, double elimination out. So I throw it over to you. First region. What do you see? What do you think?
Before I step on any toes, odds are out for regions.
Beautiful. Where'd you see that?
Am I allowed to say? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Bet Rivers.
Okay.
Bet Rivers has regions out. Vanderbilt's a -2 to 1 favorite. Louisville's 375. ETSU's 4 to 1. Wright State's 25 to 1.
25.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, a couple spots. My biggest concern, I kind of do it backwards, like you would do a test in the day. It's how my brain worked with multiple options. I would cross off ETSU immediately just due to the fact I don't think they can get enough outs. I think they'll run out of pitching possibly in a day and a half, and we know that they'll most likely be playing from the losers bracket. It's going to take time. They can
pause right there. Yeah, great point. Pause 1 second right there, because you just brought up an excellent point, and this is something that everyone needs to understand, is that, again, it's a double elimination of each pod. So if you're Vanderbilt, you're the number 1 seed, you're looking at it, you're saying, okay, let's win on Friday. Let's win on Saturday. Then a team's going to have to beat you twice, all right, on Sunday to put you out. So I say all that to say this, is that it's tournament play, double elimination, and what Greg just said is arguably the most important thing when betting the college baseball postseason is pitching. Because if you are, who did you just say? ETSU, right?
Yeah.
If you're ETSU and you lose game 1 to Louisville on Friday, you're in the losers bracket. You can't lose anymore or you're out. So you're going to have to use starters, bullpen. You have to do everything you have to do to win the game. Now you might stay alive and get yourself all the way. I think it just went mute there. But you're going to have to get yourself all the way there. There we go. I should be back. All the way there with what you have left in pitching. It can get brutal, especially if you lose game 1. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Greg, at all. I didn't want to stop your thought process, but you brought up an excellent freaking point that when you are a 1 seed, especially the number 1 overall seed, and you have pitching dominates in college baseball postseason, especially if you're deep. Starters, if you're deep in the bullpen, if you have a lot of arms that are solid, you're a tough team to put out. Okay, so I'll stop there, but that was a great point that you brought up. So please continue. ETSU running out of, or just can't get enough outs.
Yeah, that's as big of an issue as anything. And then for those top tier teams, the 1 seeds, or I'll use Northeastern as an example. There's certain teams, actually, had Michigan State found a way, and they'd be a good example too, with a guy who they have a dominant number 1, a guy who can beat anybody. However, if you're some of these teams in the mid tier, are you flat out going to try to throw that number 1? because you're probably going to lose game one. Do you keep him? Do you save him for game two? There's so many ways to play it. And it's always easier, win and you can worry about it later. But especially for some of these other teams that, had longer conference championship series. And I mean, a team like Cal Poly I looked at who played, again last night, they had to battle for 3 days straight to get through and, great games, but at what cost? I mean, a team like Irvine who got hit by, 15 pitches yesterday. I don't know if you watched that game. That was the most wacko game I've ever seen in my life. He was like, first pitch I've ever in, and here I'm going to dot you with 94 in the shin, and then I'm going to just paint for the next 3 guys. And how many double play balls can I get? But yeah, that was a strange game yesterday. But like I'm saying, there's so many different ways to go about this. If from a coach's perspective, and some of these teams like Oregon for me, who I have a massive 80-1 future on. There's almost benefit to being knocked out early. You didn't have to use your bullpen. You didn't have to risk getting anybody hurt during these teams. Like a Texas A&M who, had they made it, we talked about it the other day, they lost their best guy. There's a lot of parts to it. So it's about getting in, it's about getting healthy, and ideally playing the least amount of games possible. So, double elimination will make it interesting. First bracket, as you say, it's hard to look at anybody else but Vanderbilt. I've enjoyed Louisville, but I think Louisville's benefited at times by the offense really being so capable. I think Vanderbilt's just proven that after what we saw again this past weekend, regardless of how many games they had to play, I mean, to win the SEC tournament is a big deal, and they looked real good the way they did it.
Oh yeah, dude, they've looked real good for a month and a half. Like, the problem with Vanderbilt throughout most of the season was they could always pitch. It was run production, and they've turned that around too, right? This team has played. What did you say the odds were on Vanderbilt?
2-1, 2-1 on Vanderbilt. Excuse me, 1-2 on Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it makes sense. So
yeah,
minus 200.
Minus 200 on Vandy.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's going to be tough for anybody to take them out. Louisville could.
Yeah,
like you said, they're good enough to do it, but you're going to have to put together 3 or 4 games straight of playing almost perfect baseball, because Vanderbilt's going to bring it. They're even when they're not hitting, they could ask Ole Miss in the SEC championship game. They could beat you 3-2, and they have no problem playing those games. They don't feel pressure with it. They've done it all year. They've done it for 10 years, right? And you brought up another good point. We'll speed it up. You were talking about teams that can sit their number 1 in game 1 and use them in game 2. I'll say this. I remember 2021, 2022, Tennessee, the best Tennessee baseball team I've ever seen, ever, got put out in the Super Regionals by Notre Dame, and Notre Dame followed that. All right, they said we're going to throw our number 1 in game 2 because we think we can beat you with our number 2 in game 1. I know that sounded confusing, and they did, and put Tennessee out in Knoxville. So that's another great point too, is pay attention to these high seed teams. You'll see a lot of it on Friday night in game 1s where you've got a Vanderbilt playing a Wright State, right? You've got an Oregon State playing St. Mary's. And I'm not saying anything negative about Wright State or St. Mary's. I'm just saying it's a strategy that some teams, some managers use, especially guys who have been here. And Tim Corbin's a guy who's definitely been here. He's got titles, multiple. All right, next one here. Southern Miss, 16 seed. You've got Southern Miss, Alabama, Miami, Columbia. Alabama, if you asked me a month and a half ago, I would say Alabama wins this regional easily. And that's nothing against Southern Miss, but Alabama was playing phenomenal baseball. They can't hit. They have gone. Their bats have gone cold. What do you see out of this one?
I mean, Southern Miss, quite frankly, got a really great draw with this. Columbia, it's a weird spot. This is one of the stranger brackets I could see because, like you said, my initial instinct was, boy, I like Alabama at 2-1, but what have they done lately? And it's been not much, to be honest with you. Miami, out of this bracket, if you really wanted to go value, I think Miami has the most value. I mean, a team that can shut down with a couple decent starters. They've been doing a great job on a few Friday nights. They've been winning a few series late in the year. The offense has shown up a little bit more. And we know that at the end of the day, this is Southern Miss versus a Miami. There is a difference to it, just in terms of talent level, depth wise. And I'm not, trying to bash Southern Miss, but it's Miami and it's Southern Miss. There is going to be a gap, and just because performance isn't always going to come through like that doesn't mean that a Miami team at almost 4-1 doesn't have value. And if they're going to win game one, because they'll play the battle to them is, are they going to be able to beat Alabama? If they can win game one against Alabama, gives them a great shot. If they don't have to go deep, because Columbia could probably give Southern Miss some trouble. I mean, they've done it all year. They're a team that's been scrappy, and they're going to bring it. I mean, all these teams that are 4 seeds are young to this. They're first timers. Their teams don't make it that often, and this is a big deal to them, as it should be. So there will be no let up on Friday night, and I think this is an opportunity for one of these underdogs to come through.
Yeah, whoever wins that Miami-Alabama game is dangerous. Dangerous. Like, you could bet either of these teams to win the region beforehand, or you could wait until you see if Miami puts it on Alabama, because Miami plays the weirdest baseball games of anybody in the country. They're impossible to bet game to game because they could score 15 runs and they could score 0 runs. They're all over the board. But when they score, they are absolutely contagious hitters. 2 guys get going, 9 guys get going. It's all over the place, man. So, yeah, I agree with you. Those 2, and Miami specifically, Alabama, if Alabama's bats come back alive, they could beat the hell out of anyone in this region. Any of them. They could be very dangerous. So we'll see. All right, next one here, Florida State. All right, Florida State, Northeastern, Mississippi State, Bethune-Cookman. Florida State is absolutely racking at the plate. They're hitting. They've got pitchers, but their pitchers get a little wild. They can give up walks. They'll put guys on base. They win high-scoring games. Northeastern can go. They can pitch. That is going to be fascinating to me. What do you see out of this one?
Which bracket did you say?
Florida State.
Yeah, so Florida State's going to be an interesting one. I was big on Florida State last year. That was our baby that, we took with many options. And I don't know. This doesn't feel like that same team. I've talked about it before. Obviously, it's not the same offensively. Arnold hasn't had the same feel on a Friday night to me. The guys that have backed him up haven't been as good. I watched him against Cal a few weeks ago here, and I mean, to get shut out 5-0 against Cal to me is, I don't know. It leaves me with some concern. Yeah, to say the least. And there's times where, this team has just looked really bad offensively. They lost earlier in the year to, North Florida and a few other teams there. Not North Florida. I'm blanking on a few of these smaller Florida teams. And again,
was it Jacksonville State?
I know discredit to Jacksonville State. They did a great job in their conference tournament, but these are teams that they should be handling. And it was multiple times that there was issues. And on the weekends with what was supposed to be their, trio of lefties, it wasn't nearly what it seemed like. So again, I wonder. I think, like I was talking about them too, Northeastern is extremely dangerous, extremely underrated. A team that can pitch, a team that's used to playing in the cold, so they know how to play defense and small ball. When they're able to go to a nice place with good weather, you can let everything fly. And I think that does benefit a lot of these teams that are used to just having to play in a gym and practice in small ball and working on the little fundamentals, because it's not nice 365 days a year there. And I'm interested with Northeastern. Mississippi State, I don't have the faith in them. Bethune-Cookman, I think their championship was yesterday with that walk-off home run, and that was amazing. But yeah, I think Northeastern provides a decent amount of value here. And it represents Florida State. If you thought they were going to be a pick 'em, basically, you would probably blindly take them if you didn't know what you were looking at. But I think Northeastern definitely provides some value.
Yeah, that Northeastern Mississippi State game is going to be great. I can't wait to see it. Because either of those teams could be dangerous here. Florida State is a very good candidate to throw a number 2 against Bethune-Cookman.
Yep.
Look out for that. And if they can get that win, just pay attention. Florida State could get a little. They could get a little different with their pitching.
That one feels like probably a 10-run rule game, to be honest with you. I think Bethune-Cookman's pretty much they're out of their element in that one.
Yeah.
Now,
Now here's the deal, though. I believe run rules are done now.
Is it all the way through? Because I thought they cut it at a certain point if it was like
I believe that the run rules are done. I'll have to check on that, but I believe that they're done. I think now that it's postseason, you play. So we'll check on that, but I believe so. Tizzle asks, how much should we value experience in these postseason games, or is that irrelevant? No, it absolutely matters. It absolutely matters because you're generally playing tight games and you have guys that are comfortable doing it. Go ahead.
Run rule is not applied, so blindly take the over in a lot of these early games, I would say, because how do you protect your pitching? You just beat the crap out of the other team by 20 runs, and then you can bring in all the outfielders that think they're pitchers for an inning or two.
Bingo. That's exactly right. Your best defense is offense.
Yep.
Yeah. So run rules are done. Here on out. Done. All right. But yeah, Tizzle, experience does matter. And I'll give you the perfect example. Look at that Tennessee team last year. Okay. A lot of those guys were young 2 years previous on what I absolutely go look at the record books. That was the greatest Tennessee team I've ever seen. They set the records in runs, RBIs, home runs, grand slams. I mean, literally everything. And they got put out in super regionals. But that team was all young dudes. And they came, obviously came back 2024. And then you had guys, that were just ready to mash, right? So, yeah, experience does matter. And especially pitching. Especially pitching. All right, last one here. And, yeah, we'll speed it up. Oregon State, TCU, USC, St. Mary's. St. Mary's is not a team to shove off if you're Oregon State. They're especially a team like Oregon State who very similar to Vanderbilt, right? Like they rely on pitching and they're not afraid to win 3-2, 4-2 ball games. Be careful, St. Mary's. USC a month ago was on fire. And then their bats completely died. TCU, they're all right. If Oregon State's pitching does what it does and their bats are not completely dead, I think that they handle it. What do you think?
I already made a big wager on Oregon State to win it at plus 110. I think it's the most undervalued possible line in the entire board by a lot. So I think that they're drastically better than everyone in that regional. And St. Mary's just played 50 games in the last weekend with how long they went. They played 3 games that were like 15-15. They had a 14-inning game. I mean, it's great, but that team's going to be exhausted. And I know there's a difference in talent. We watched St. Mary's go to Vanderbilt earlier this year, played decent, but when push came to shove, they got beat up, and they're only beat up since then. They played a lot of games. That takes a toll on a team that isn't as deep. TCU, again, they've been up and down at times. I've watched them on the West Coast, and they've been okay. Not great, not worth the value to me. And USC is to me, a total letdown at this point. They had their run. They were the last 4 in. I think UConn should have gotten their spot instead, but so be it. I think that Oregon State by far is the class of this region, and if they even play B level baseball, I think on both ends they should dominate. On top of the fact that they're playing up in Corvallis, and that's a huge advantage to 3 teams that don't play in that kind of weather or used to that. Just that feel all the time. TCU is not there. USC is not there, and St. Mary's, I would say, is the closest to us in Moraga, but still a big drastic difference versus Corvallis.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough to beat Oregon State because you're going to have to play great in terms of you're going to have to hit against really great pitching. You're going to have to, like you said, weather-wise, you're just going to have to deal with Oregon State. And they're here every year for a reason. They're a solid institution in baseball. Girth Brooks says, if experience matters, color me big red. Cornhuskers, baby. Sorry for the bad joke, but it's true. I love it, man. I love it. Scott, what up, bro? Tim, FSU regionals almost always get rain delayed, but also have some huge numbers. FSU beat OSU one year, 37-6. Definitely no run rules. Nope. Look, Florida State, and I don't mean to bring up a source. Florida State had Tennessee. Like, it was a miracle and maybe a bad call behind the plate that Tennessee even advanced at. Yeah. So that's a good point from Tim right there. All right, let's jump it down here to we're going. If you're looking at the full bracket, this is the top left, this is the bottom left. All right, North Carolina gets Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Holy Cross. I think it's going to be difficult to beat North Carolina. They've got pitching, hitting. I mean, they're a damn good baseball team. Nebraska's playing great. Like, I don't trust Oklahoma. Don't want anything to do with them. Holy Cross. Look out for Nebraska. It'd be hard for me not to take North Carolina because they're a great team and doing it right now. So is Nebraska, man. What do you see here?
Yeah, I think this is going to be tough for anybody. And, a motivated Carolina team who I think was underseeded as well. I think that they deserve a little better. So I think that they're going to have a little extra spice to them. Oklahoma, again, another team that, maybe a month ago I would have felt a little bit differently about. And yeah, it was a great run by Nebraska. Really, really, really good run by Nebraska. You wonder if that was it, though. Again, these teams that win these conference tournaments, especially ones that didn't win the regular season, there is going to be somewhat of a letdown, I think, even though it is a tournament game. I think Carolina, to me, is the class. That pitching, they could go through this kind of region and give up less than a handful of runs with the way that they have pitched and the way that they can pitch. So I think it would be hard to find value against them in this one.
Yep, I agree. They're solid. Tim said, AV just triggered me with that Tennessee bad call. I didn't even want to say it, bro.
We had Florida State 100-1 last year, so I was ready. I was at Circa waiting to hedge, and we never got the chance.
And they were going to do it too. If they won that game, they were going to win it all. Nobody was taking Florida State out. No,
yep.
They were pitching, hitting. It's phenomenal. All right, next one here. Oregon against Oregon's the 1 seed, obviously hosting. They've got Arizona, Cal Poly, and Utah Valley. Utah Valley could put up runs. That Oregon-Utah Valley, I don't know what the total is going to be, but there could be a lot of runs there. This feels like Oregon, and you know way more on Cal Poly than I do. I don't trust Arizona. I mean, it feels like Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, if Cal Poly is able to pitch like they have, they can stick around. They've played really well all year. They just got Larry Lee, his 700th victory, and that's a great program. I was looking at them for a while actually, and they're too smart for me, so I had to go somewhere else. But it's a great school and great baseball program, and it's biggest issue though. If you're going to see anything like how they survived on yesterday with everything, I just don't think that they have enough depth. And like we've said, Oregon has zero problem playing low scoring games. Oregon has won how many games this year hitting unders, and quietly I've taken a lot of these unders and it's worked out well. It's never sexy, but Oregon has no issue, and has proven in these bigger games later in the year, they can also hit home runs. They can mash if they need to, but to me, what I like especially about Oregon, and I'm biased with them, I have a 80-1 future on Oregon. So we picked Oregon with our biggest play of the year to win the Big Ten. They swept when they needed to. They finished strong. I don't know what happened to Iowa. Talk about the collapse of the century that no one is going to talk about, like A&M. But I think that Oregon's ability to win in any kind of condition and play with the level they do, and they have a true number one. I think that they can make noise. I'd love to get to a hedge point with them. They make the World Series. We'll cash on a World Series spot, but I think that they by far the class. And 177 is a little high with them. I think that if anything, Cal Poly might make a little noise, so I would maybe look at Cal Poly on a side bet or something else to maybe chase them. But I think Oregon's the class.
Yeah, I do too. It'd be fun to see Cal Poly make a little run, though. I don't nothing against Arizona. They're just so up and down. I mean,
they got talent up this year.
Yeah,
offensive troubles all year for Arizona. They just can't put up enough runs.
Yep, agreed. Next one here, Coastal Carolina, the 1 seed. Florida, 2 seed. 3 seed East Carolina. 4 seed Fairfield. Coastal Carolina can obviously win this thing. Florida can definitely win this thing. Florida's doing the exact same thing they did last year. And East Carolina can. Now, East Carolina is not what they've been, but there's still talent over there. I'm going to say this. Watch out for Florida, man. Just watch out. They're a team that you do not want to see. You just don't want to see them. What do you think here?
Yeah, I made a play on East Carolina already at 9-1. Kind of how they finished the season. They played well yesterday. I like the pitching. I like the defense. And a little bit calmer of an environment to play in. If they had to go play at Florida, it would be a little crazier. If those teams had to go play at ECU, it would be crazier. So always a little bit of something to think about too is, are you traveling to one of these wild SEC places that's going to be just bonkers or Big 12 spots? And I think Coastal's played amazing at Conway. They've been great there. But at 9-1, especially with the way ECU's finished the year, it's a thought. And even if you have them in back pocket, it doesn't mean that then you can't touch somebody else. To me, honestly, I think that either of these two teams could handle. Coastal's record against the stronger teams was not that great this year. I mean, they did not play that well against top tier teams. And to me, it's a coin flip with a team like ECU more often than not, and a team like Florida with the way that they can pitch. And if they even hit the ball remotely well, I think that, a Coastal Florida over sounds pretty appropriate to say the least. But yeah, I think that, 9-1 or even with, Florida to a small underdog, I think there is some value. I'm not saying that Coastal can't win it, but I do think that there is definite turmoil in this one.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. That Florida East Carolina game, like that'll dictate it. Florida, if they get whooped by East Carolina, they'll
go to a barbecue. Yeah.
Yep, they'll lose to Fairfield. I mean, they'll be gone. But if they whoop up on ECU, look the hell out, because they're absolutely contagious, and they've got a head coach who's won a title there, right? Florida's just dangerous. They throw a curveball into this thing, man. Last one here on the bottom left of the bracket, Auburn, the 1 seed. You got NC State, Stetson, and then Central Connecticut State. NC State can be very dangerous. I don't see Stetson, even though I like what Stetson's done. It's hard not to take Auburn, but if you just catch NC State on fire, that's what worries me. Now, that's a big if. And Auburn playing at home, right now, if I had $100 bill and I had to bet it, I mean, it would be Auburn. But what Auburn wants is Stetson and NC State to go long. Use a lot of pitching, right? That's what they want, man. So, again, I mean, I'll roll with Auburn here, but NC State is dangerous, man. What do you see?
Yeah, like you said, too, Auburn does have a pretty big home field advantage. They have one of the more obscure fields in the country, too. So it does take a little feel to get used to. And, it'll be interesting. And I don't know if it's the first time NC State has played there this year, too. So there is definitely a little bit of a adjustment period with their big wall in left field. And, there is differences to it. So, and game one, a lot of these teams haven't played these fields. So there's going to be a difference with the hitter's eyes. Friday night, that'll be that weird time with the sun coming across the field. All those strange little factors that come into it. To me, and I'm an Auburn hater, I think that they'll roll this one. I think that NC State is good, but again, I think Auburn is a step ahead. I think they've played well this year. I think that home field advantage will help. And Stetson's been a nice story. Great for them to get in. They had a really, really good beginning of the year when I think a lot of people caught eye of them. And in Central Connecticut, I guess, gets to make a trip to Alabama as well. So they'll be down there. So we'll see how that goes. That might be an over game immediately. I don't know what they'll set these totals at, because if Auburn goes up 12-0 in the fourth inning, they'll yank their starter immediately. And what do you do there? You still got four and a half more at bats to go here. I don't know. These totals it's hard to make these totals when there's no run rules.
Yep. Dude, and you brought up another good point, too, in regards to, pulling starters, or 2 years ago, remember, LSU and Florida were playing in the national championship, and LSU with Paul Skeens, all right, set to go, title game. They started their closer and said, we think we can get up on you, and we'll use Paul Skeens as our closer in this game. Want some of that? And they didn't end up having to do it. But you're going to see teams that get wild with pitching. So it's a good point of what you said, man, that you want to get up, and you want to get up early and let it rip. All right, let's jump over to the other side, and I'll speed it up because I don't want this video to be too terribly long. So we'll go through these a little quicker here. All right, Texas, UTSA, Kansas State, Houston Christian. 3 teams from the state of Texas, and then Kansas State not too terribly far away. If I'm Texas, look, I don't want to face UTSA. Now, I'm not saying that Texas is afraid of them, but dude, I don't like playing in-state teams, especially teams that are pretty damn good. I wouldn't like that at all. But again, Texas hadn't been hitting the ball either as of late, but they've got just friggin' outstanding pitching. Yeah, I mean, it feels like Texas, but dude, if UTSA jumps up big on Kansas State and can rest some dudes, I wouldn't want it if I was Texas. What do you think?
Yeah, UTSA was our darling, the AAC champion. That was a delightful 20-1 this year for everybody. I'm pleased, but to me, this one again, Kansas State, another team, maybe a month ago or so, maybe even 2 months ago. Interest, they've just fallen off little by little by little by little. Texas should roll this one, in my opinion. I think that especially with how they have been struggling offensively, I think it focuses even more on their pitching, and they've shown they can shut anybody down at times. So they even get some remotely decent hitting. I think they'll roll through this. UTSA, I think I will take, though. Game 1 against K-State. We'll see what that comes out to. But yeah, I like the finals probably to be UTSA against Texas, and Texas probably handles them.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating, man. Next one here. All right, UCLA, UC Irvine, Arizona State, Fresno State. This one is not kind to UCLA. I'll take UC Irvine right now. And that's nothing against UCLA. That's Fresno State could score and give up runs, but they could. Like, you're going to see some runs in this one. I'll take UC Irvine right now. I'll absolutely take them right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Irvine as well. I think UCLA has proven through the Big Ten they've have flaws, and this is more than a 1-game series. I think what really showed it to me was they had the opportunity at the end of the year to handle business against a very average Washington team, and they shit the bed. And they gave away the Big Ten championship. They tied it, but really it was Oregon's to me in terms of they won the tiebreaker. They had a better overall spot, and it is what it is. I think it's more pressure on UCLA playing at home. It's a fun little trip for Irvine, and Irvine again. Here they are. I think another team that's people that are not in college baseball don't realize what Irvine does and what they have done. I mean, this is a dominant program. Fresno State won the World Series not so long ago. So, there is talent here. And I think a little bit of undervalue with Fresno State at 15-1, quite frankly. I think that they might be able to make a little bit of noise. Irvine at times has shown they've struggled. They lost back-to-back games to Cal Poly in the last 2 days. I think there is value on Fresno State. I also think there's value on Irvine. I think those two are the opportunities. I don't think UCLA is going to be able to win this thing. And double elimination, I think, only hurts them.
Yeah. UCLA could lose to any of these teams. Any of these. All 4 of these. This is going to be a great regional right here. All 4 of these teams. There could be madness. This could be one of those that you have a game on Monday. Like, there could be no pitching left by Sunday night, right? Like, I can't wait to see it. But, yeah, my money, I'll take UC Irvine. They're Oregon State. Like, I can get down with them. All right. Yeah. Next one, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Western Kentucky, Murray State. My God. That Western Kentucky, Georgia Tech is going to be a hell of a baseball game. Ole Miss playing great baseball right now, but they're not perfect. I've seen them look terrible at times this year, and you can say that about anybody, but watch out for that winner of Western Kentucky, Georgia Tech. Watch the hell out, man. What do you see?
I mean, talk about a team that should be pissed off too. I mean, Georgia Tech not even getting a top 16 after winning the ACC. I would be mad, and RPI aside and all that, I feel like I was disappointed. I was really mad Oregon didn't get a top eight spot. I thought that they'd done the body of work and gotten enough. But at the same time, it's always going to be an SEC based and middle of the country based sport like we've seen. And that's kind of what I love about being sort of on the West Coast and how it is treated. So it's almost like a chip on the shoulder, which I think Georgia Tech has. Ole Miss playing at home, I think might be the worst thing that happens to them. I think they've been playing better away from home. I think they've had more confidence, and instead of that home crowd, I think that adds a little bit of pressure. Western Kentucky, another team that's had a great season, but I think to me it's going to be Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. Whoever wins that second game, assuming they both get through, I think handles business.
Yeah, our man Reed Phillips said, "Let's go Racers, Murray State, baby, old school." Ohio Valley Conference. I love it. The last one here, Georgia, the 1 seed in Athens. Duke, number 2. Number 3, Oklahoma State. And number 4, Binghamton. I think that's what it is. Whoever printed these off. Terrible job. Look out. Duke can go. But if Georgia's hitting, it's going to be tough. Just look out for Duke. Look out for Duke, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it this year. Duke has screwed me too many ways. They found every way. Anytime I look at them, they go the other way. Georgia has no value at 3-1, but I do think that they handle business. They've kind of been off the radar for quite a while. You forget how great they've been all year and what they can do. I feel like there has been so much look on other parts, and I think maybe too because I've been so caught up with the West Coast tournaments. But Georgia is a team that quietly is phenomenal. Another team that can hit the ball to the ballpark, top to bottom, and a big home field advantage. I think this is a team that does play better at home. Athens, the ball's going to fly. I would look at overs in this series. I've played at Athens. The ball flies there. That place has.
It's always humid.
It is always humid, and it's tucked in that corner. It's still in the same location when I played there, and it's tucked in with the tree line protecting it. So it basically can only blow out, it feels like.
Yep.
I would look at overs in this, and I think Georgia handles business. If Duke loses game 1, I would. They're either going to lose 5-0 or lose or win like 15-14. Like I feel like they play that one close game, and then the wheels come off, and everything goes.
Completely agree, dude. All right, so we'll jump over bottom right. LSU, and look, we're on a pitch clock. My battery, unfortunately, is in the truck. And I'm on 6. So we're going to go ultra quick. Yep, on these. All right. LSU, Dallas Baptist, Rhode Island, Little Rock. The box down there in Baton Rouge. I mean, LSU's a blue blood institution for a reason. Brutal to go down there and win. LSU hasn't played great. They haven't played bad, but they haven't played great. Dallas Baptist is a damn good baseball team. Rhode Island, look at their numbers. Lots of runs in their games. But, I mean, it's LSU. It would be almost impossible for me not to take.
Yeah, it's LSU for me as well. But DBU years past has been able to hang. They don't have that pitching and offensive capability together. I think this is going to be too much in a huge home field advantage.
Yeah, and LSU just has too many arms. It's going to be brutal to take them out.
And getting shut out and losing the way they lost both back-to-back, I think, will piss them off more.
Yep, I completely agree with that. Clemson, West Virginia, Kentucky, USC upstate. Watch the hell out for West Virginia here. Clemson can play great ball, and they could screw up in the postseason. I've seen it. But this Clemson team is deep. They're good. They're well coached. They don't beat themselves. Just that Kentucky, West Virginia, there's going to be 387 runs in that game. Look out for West Virginia. They might not be a bad play, but Clemson playing great baseball right now. Tough not to take them.
Yeah, I think West Virginia, we had them. They won that Big 12 by the most miracle ever. So we're not going to go into that. But I think that, the way that they finished to me was struggles in terms of getting outs. A lot of blown leads, a lot of blown games. That Kansas series at the end was a struggle. I think Clemson has enough to get through, but this is probably one of the more highly scoring regionals.
Yep, I agree. It is going to be compared to this one. Tennessee in Knoxville. You got Wake Forest, you got Cincinnati, you got Miami, Ohio. watch out for Cincinnati. Watch out for Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wins against Wake Forest, they could whoop Tennessee. I'm just going to tell you, they could do it. And I'm not saying anything bad against Miami, Ohio. These are 4 decent teams that could get down. If Cincinnati beats Wake Forest, they might win this regional. Tennessee at the plate is Heckle and what was it? Dr. Heckle, Mr. Hyde, whatever the hell it is, right? Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what Tennessee team you're going to get at the plate. But if Cincinnati is consistent, they're money, man. What do you think?
Agreed. Yeah, I think biggest game is going to be that first one, like you said. I look at Cincy at 7-1. Tennessee, they're like a Texas A&M. The talent is there, but there's something missing, and it starts at the top, and there's issues, and it's continued down the stretch for quite a while with them. And I think that Cincy has a chance. Wake Forest, to me, overrated. They've struggled. The games that they should have won, they've lost over and over this season. So to me, Cincy is there, not nearly enough value on Tennessee.
Yep, agreed. And Tennessee sees too many 2-strike counts. That's their problem. Is that you cannot have 108 years of baseball tells you that if you hit 2-strike counts, you're going to hit 190.
Tennessee's biggest issue to me is they cannot play small ball well either. They don't play small ball. They cannot produce runs. They are a blooper blast team, and that's it.
That's it, 100%. And let me tell you this for anybody that doesn't know. Lindsey Nelson Stadium, Tennessee plays, where this region is, there are high school stadiums that are bigger than this park. There will be home runs all over the board in all of these games. There will be runs everywhere. I'm just telling you right now, it's like Georgia, the trees, lined, humidity, up on a mountain. Buddy, there are going to be runs everywhere throughout this region. All right, last one, Arkansas, Kansas, good baseball team. Creighton, a good baseball team. And North Dakota State. Creighton and Kansas, I mean, going up against each other. That's like Creighton and Nebraska playing against each other, man. I don't know about North Dakota State. Arkansas is going to be brutal to beat. Yeah, let it rip quick because I'm about to die. The battery, I'm on 3. But look the hell out for 1 through 3 could win this. Tough to take anybody but Arkansas. But Creighton and Kansas can go, man. What are your thoughts?
I watched Arkansas choke that thing away last year, so I wouldn't be surprised to do it again this year. I mean, prove it. This team gets to the big games, loses the big games. And that's 6-1 favorites. I don't like that at all. I think if there's some value, I think Creighton has a little bit. I think Kansas as well has a little bit. Kansas has been able to hit. Kansas has been able to pitch. Arkansas is going to have a huge home field advantage. Huge. I think to them, yeah, it's going to be all about how are these teams going to be able to handle that, and can Arkansas hit? Last year, they left 9 million guys on base with runners in scoring position, and it gets in your head at a certain point, and we'll see if they can do it.
Look the hell out. If Tennessee and Arkansas play in a super regional, they hate each other. Pure hatred. Coaches, play everyone. It will be absolutely. You saw what Tennessee did on Friday against Arkansas, then lost the next 2. But there will be absolute just craziness. All right. Jump out of here, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll talk more ball. See you later. Thanks.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!